Welcome to the 22nd episode, the Super Bowl special Pick'em episode of the Amateur Hour. Is this the 23rd? It's the 23rd episode. We're coming to you live with no bullshitting this episode. It's going to be all straight Super Bowl picks. We are joined by the Pick'em winner of 2022, Bo Bingen from last to first. He's wearing his winning jersey. That is a Justin Herbert. Is that a home jersey or away?
I think they were white on the road, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a Justin Herbert away jersey for the listeners who are not watching on YouTube. Bo, we're going to let you talk in a sec. We just want to play a short clip from the first episode when Dave and I were discussing the Pick'em roster for this year.
He's got that, little arrogance to him. He's got the flow. He's got the mustache or whatever he had.
That's Nick Diltz.
So I'm anti-Nick Diltz.
He's going to listen to this. I'm cheering for Bo to have a comeback, too.
Bo was by far the worst pick'em player I've ever seen in my life. Bo, I don't know you. I've never met you, buddy, but you are just god-awful when it comes to picking NFL games. I think maybe Bo, give this a shot week one. Just close your eyes and click something, buddy, because it cannot be worse than last year. And his team name was Bo Knows. Bo absolutely does not know. That's a straight fact, buddy. So, hey, I'm wishing good luck to Bo. Good vibes to Bo this year.
I just got to get.
And Bo's back from the dead. What do you say?
On the back.
What is your rebuttal to that, Bo?
Throwing good vibes at Bo at the end. No, that was. I apologize. I really shit on you there, but it was kind of deserved. After last season, and you bounced back. You're by far the best team this year, and you kind of buckled down, went back to the drawing board, and improved greatly. Doing a lot of research and studying and watching film, and you deserve to be the number one team this year, and you deserve to take my opinions in the first episode and shove them right up my own ass.
I appreciate that, David. I don't have much to throw back at you. I think that clip does it in its entirety. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks.
Yeah, your actions spoke louder than your words this year for you, Bo.
They did indeed.
You didn't talk shit back. You just made the right picks.
That deserves to go on.
Speak for itself.
It deserves to go on Old Takes Exposed.
That's good. I like that. And Bo actually picked that out himself. I had forgotten that you had shit on him. So he even gave me the exact clip. So thank you for that.
That was bulletin board material from Bo all season. It was up on the bulletin board all year.
Every morning you'd listen to it before the picks.
Not every morning, but I was an avid listener. So I don't worry. I heard it and I remember, David. I remember.
Well, we appreciate you being on. We appreciate you listening. Let's get into the Super Bowl. Chiefs versus Eagles. Takes place in Arizona. Phoenix to be exact. I think the stadium is outside of Phoenix. That's probably doesn't matter much, but Eagles favored by 1.5 points. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, initially I felt pretty
Eagles favored.
You say you're what?
No, it started Chiefs favored by 2, which is a huge flip, I think, because there were times when it got up to Eagles favored by 2.5. So it went from Chiefs being favored by 2 right when it opened, and then up to Eagles being favored by 2.5. So that's at points a 4.5 point swing.
Wow, I didn't know that the Chiefs opened at 2-point favorites. That's crazy. Why do you think that is? Because I feel like the reason why, in my opinion, that the Eagles are favored at this point for a couple of reasons, but I thought kind of that Pat Mahomes ankle situation was one of the reasons why, Vegas was leaning towards the Eagles, but then now the line has swung the other way. So why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it has to do with just the Chiefs and the mantra. I mean, they've been a bulldozer for the last couple of years. So I think it's just Chiefs, Andy Reid, Mahomes. And I think part of it was just the line was just wrong, obviously, because it swung so far in the opposite direction.
John, what are your initial thoughts as the lines open up here?
Well, I like it. I actually, I don't really know if I'll be cheering for a certain team yet, but I really think that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, those are the 3 guys that I know. I'm sure there are other players, but I think they'll remember that embarrassing loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2 years ago. And I think that they will come out firing. I think it's going to be a hot first quarter for them, at least a touchdown.
Really? Okay.
for the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So I have, since we're talking about the opening line, I have one for you guys right off the bat if you're interested in betting trends. And since we're talking betting in the game, there have been 18 times in the Super Bowl era in which the opening line has moved more than a point and a half, so more than 1.5 points. In this case, it's been up to upwards of 4 points. In those games, the team getting the points has been 16-2 straight up and 14-4 against the spread. So in that case, if you're looking at the Eagles, it's a pretty strong trend back in that case since the line movement has moved their way so much.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of interesting numbers. I think opening up, I like the fact that you tell me that maybe I just like didn't look right away, but the fact that you tell me that the Chiefs opened up at as favorites surprises me because, like I said, the Pat Mahomes ankle situation, and I just think, yeah, I'm not a great gambler by any means, but I think my money's going to be on the Eagles for the Super Bowl. And that's before I knew that trend that you just mentioned. I like that. I like that stat. I really like it. But I just think, like you said, John, the Chiefs have Pat Mahomes, the Chiefs have Andy Reid, the Chiefs have Travis Kelce. But I think other than that, the Eagles have the advantage everywhere else. And I think Jalen Hurts has worked his way up to where that quarterback discrepancy isn't as big as maybe some other Super Bowls, like a Pat Mahomes versus Jimmy G Super Bowl or something, for example. So I think the Eagles all around their team just looks like a powerhouse this year. And I don't think my one concern for the Eagles is they haven't really been tested so far. I mean, they played a tough 49ers defense and team, but obviously we know what happened with the quarterback situation there, and that just changes the game completely. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I think the only thing that scares you about betting on the Eagles is Patrick Mahomes. You don't know if he's just going to pull a game, out of his ass and become, put the superhero cape on and lead them to victory. But it seems like you're right. If you're not looking at Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, the Eagles might have better players at every other position. They're just dominant, especially on the offensive and defensive lines. They have just steamrolled teams all season long. I mean, they led the NFL in sacks this year. I think that says it all for that defense.
Yeah, they have a crazy defensive line, and I like their linebackers a lot. I really like their secondary. So I feel like the Chiefs have had obviously they've won their first two games. That's how the playoffs have worked. That's why they're in the Super Bowl. But they face the Jaguars, who obviously are not nearly as good of a team as the Eagles, and not as good of a team as the Chiefs, as you could see. And then obviously Pat Mahomes got hurt in that game. And then in the next game against the Bengals, who the Bengals are obviously a very solid team. But I think the Bengals have some weaknesses that the Eagles are strengths in. I think the Bengals have somewhat of a weak secondary. The Eagles have a strong secondary. The Bengals were down three starting offensive linemen, and the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, if not the best, and a great run game. So I think that the Chiefs haven't really been tested either. I just mentioned that about the Eagles, but I think that the Chiefs are in for kind of a surprise as to how much firepower the Eagles have on offense with their skill players, how much run dominance they can have with their offensive line, and that kind of three-headed monster in the run game, four-headed if you count Jalen Hurts, and then the defense, how stout they are.
Yeah, John, where do you fall on this line?
Yeah, so I'll keep track of all these picks and we'll see how we do here. I'm gonna go. I'll take the Chiefs. Plus, if I can get them at +1.5, I'll take the Chiefs.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's where it sits right now is 1.5, right?
Yeah, that's when I just looked, it was 1.5. John, and it's hard for like Bo hinted at, it's hard for anyone to blame you for taking the Chiefs because of Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid as well. And it's like you could always bet on the Chiefs and go to sleep at night and lay your head on the pillow knowing that like you bet your money on Pat Mahomes and you can sleep at night knowing that. Now, if you go against Pat Mahomes, then maybe that's going to irk you for the rest of your life. Like, why would I ever go against Pat Mahomes? But to me, this is just like a don't overthink a game. It's like, I get in my own thoughts and I'm like, oh, David, you cannot bet against Pat Mahomes. This actually happened to me 2 years ago in the Chiefs Buccaneers Super Bowl, which really doesn't make a lot of sense because I ended up betting against Tom Brady, which is even worse. So I was like, I can't bet against this Chiefs team and Pat Mahomes in this situation. So I'm just going to bet on the Chiefs and see what happens. And then they got their ass kicked by Tom Brady. And I'm like, why would I ever bet against Tom Brady? So I don't know. This situation seems more clear cut to me. It's like the Eagles are the better roster, the better team. They're hotter. So I could see them winning this game, and I just don't want to overthink it.
You picking the Eagles, David?
I do like the Eagles -1.5. Yeah.
Okay, Bo, what do you got?
Okay. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles, and I'll lay the points too. But I've got a betting trend here for Jonathan and his Chiefs. If Mahomes is an underdog or favored by less than 3, 18-6-1 against the spread.
Pretty
So
solid.
there's numbers to back that.
The Chiefs
There's
definitely have
numbers
the
to back that.
experience in the big game too. You know, a couple
True.
players on that roster. Obviously, there's been some turnover since the last Super Bowl. We know that, but they've been to 5 straight AFC championships. I believe has it been 5 that they've at least hosted in a row.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
You know, so they have the experience in the big games. They've been in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So they kind of have this chip on their shoulder. They have about half the roster has the experience of being there. So I think they're going to get there and be all business where the Eagles might get there and, you know, be excited to be there and be happy to be there. But I think that, you know, Jalen Hurts is a good leader. I think that Sirianni's a psychopath, and I think they'll be able to buckle down enough and realize the moment and take the game serious.
Yeah, I'm with you on Sirianni. What's your read on him, David? Yes or no?
I think he is quite the player's coach. I think the guys really do like playing for him, but I think he's a complete psychopath. He's one of those guys where you love to have him on your side and you absolutely hate to go against him, which, you know, is a good asset to have in the NFL. He seems like he's a decent coach and also a guy that can kind of step back and realize like, hey, we got a lot of good players here. Like maybe I just need to let them kind of play.
Yeah. No, I completely agree that if he's beating you, he's going to let you know about it. That is absolutely the case, and that drives you nuts if you're playing against him.
Is he a sore winner?
I think he's a sore winner. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty
he's a cocky
obnoxious.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, hey, if you want to stop him from doing that, you got to beat him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think there was a little bit of a story. Some commentators said that he didn't really even have to coach. He had like one of the best rosters in the NFL and just had to let him play. And I think it got more hype than it did because I didn't even know who the guy was that said it. But apparently he played for the Giants and didn't like the Eagles. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I will agree. I will agree with that guy. I don't think there's much better rosters out there. They're at least a top 5 roster, defense and offensively, I think, you know?
Yeah. So it comes down to a question of, do you like the better roster or do you like the best player in Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, and I think I don't know what you guys think. If they did the NFL in series, like a 7-game series, I think the Eagles would definitely win 4 out of those games, at least. But just because it's one game, you just don't know. Like you said, if Patrick Mahomes has the game of his life, which he could, then you're a little scared. Over and under wise, do you guys? It's 51, so pretty. Could get a little shaky. I don't know. That's a scary. It's like right in the middle. Feeling one way or another strongly on it. I feel like it's a real coin toss to me.
Well, what are you thinking? I have a feeling one way or the other, but I'll let Bo go first.
I don't want anything to do with this total because I have no idea where to go with it. The Super Bowl tends to lean under, and I'm really interested that you said you like the first half over. It seems like, John, because the first half under is what tends to play really well in the Super Bowl because teams come out and they try and kind of feel each other, get a sense for what each team is going to want to do. And especially with the Eagles, I think you could see a lot of running the football early, even though during the season they've been one of the most pass happy teams or pass heavy teams in the first half, and that usually puts them in a lead, so they tend to run it more in the second half. But I think the first half under, I don't know what the line is. I think it might have moved because this over under total has moved all week. But for the full game, I don't know what's going to happen because all it could take is one defensive score and the over is, or the under is in real peril. So I really don't know what to do with the total at 51.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't decided if I want to bet on it yet. I probably will sprinkle a little bit of action on it, but I actually really like the under in this game. Bo kind of
Okay.
hinted at it with Super Bowls tend to go under. I think that teams come out a little bit slower than they normally would just because of maybe the nerves. Like you said, maybe feeling each other out, maybe just trying to establish the run. Shout out Nirvan. So I could see it going under to the point where it's going to be one of those like chippier games. The Eagles have one of the best defenses in the NFL. The Chiefs actually have a very underrated defense. They maybe don't have the playmakers in the secondary. Maybe besides Eric Reed, where you wouldn't expect them to be a very solid defense, but their defensive front puts a lot of pressure on them, even with rushing four. They have linebackers that just run all over the field and make tackles, and Nick Bolton and is it Willie Gay, the other linebacker. So their defense that's very underrated too. So I could see it being pretty low scoring and a big defensive battle, even though we have so many playmakers on offense and arguably one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time in Pat Mahomes. So I see it going under, but I wouldn't be shocked if it goes over. So I'm not gonna hammer this play, but I will sprinkle some on the under, I think.
Sure.
The first half over under at DraftKings, it's tricky. It's like around 24 or 25 because you can get under 24 and a half for minus 120. But
Okay, so
then
juice to the under.
yeah, over 21 over 24 and a half is plus 200. And then if you look at it, and then if it goes to under 25 or under 23 and a half, it's plus 105. So it's like somewhere in that 24-point range.
Yeah. I think I would lean the under there on the first half, just because that tends to be the way Super Bowls go. And I think Jalen Hurts really struggled passing the football early in that game against the Niners. But they got to a point so quickly where they realized they didn't have to throw the football. So it was just run, run, run. And that's all they needed. So I do like the under in the first half there if it's 24, 24 and a half. But once you get down to 23 and a half, 23, that gets pretty testy.
Yeah. So can I get a guess out of you guys so I can put it in my notes here?
Yeah, I'll take under. You can put me down for
Oh,
under.
yeah. I'll
Under.
lean under 51 too.
I
Okay.
definitely don't like betting the under though. It's kind of depressing. I had the
Yeah.
under in the I think Eagles Niners game. I took the under, and it was just kind of like rooting against points is never fun. It's always fun to root for points. Like no matter what team scores, you get
Right.
excited, but rooting for the under is just kind of depressing.
I will take the over 51 then, just to
Fair.
proclaim it.
Yeah. I could easily see this being a game in which the end of each half gets wild and you see points, a bunch of points in the last like 5 minutes of each half. But I'll still lean on the under on that one. What's something you can do is if you really like the Chiefs to win, you can get plus money on that. And then if you want to parlay that with an adjusted line or adjusted total, if you want to go to like under, if you can get like under 60 or something like that, to get some really good odds, you can get right around like even money odds, if to kind of help you out if you really like the Chiefs to win. Those are kind of fun same game parlays to put together.
Yeah. Are you going to be hitting any parlays? Are you guys big parlay? I know Dave loves a good parlay for like $2.
No, I think personally I'm going to lay off the parlays. I think parlays are bad for me. I always get like too invested in trying to make all these pieces fit together where I love like certain bets individually. So why am I packaging them together? Like let's just win 3 out of 4 instead of winning 0 out of 4 because all 4 didn't hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you want to build a consistent bankroll, parlaying is not the way to go. So you want to do straight bets. But one thing I've had some fun doing and had some success doing is if there's only one game or two games available, you can do a tease, which in sense gives you extra points both in the line of the spread and the total. So in this example, if you did a 6-point tease for the Chiefs, you would get plus 7.5. And then on the other side, you would get an adjusted total, whether it be over or under. and putting those two things together, and the juice on that is usually like 115, 120 or something like that. So you have to pay a little bit for it, but those are kind of fun things to do if you don't really like the line, and especially if you're doing it for the underdog, because you can get through the key number there of 7, which gives you more than a touchdown. So if they were to lose by 7, you'd still be safe.
Yeah, I'll have to send you guys an article. I think the guy's name was either Jimmy or Johnny Wong, and he was a blackjack player in Vegas, and he figured out that in the NFL, the 3-team tease, if the spread is just right, is actually favorable for you. You have like a slight edge if you bet it correctly, and he looked at data over like 30 or 25 years in the NFL. So the teases are interesting to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I like them too.
Yeah,
if you get a board that you really like, or you get some really good information, you can put together a bigger tease where you get like 4, 5, or even 6 team teases.
Yes.
Those can be really fun, and they can be really profitable. But it's like a parlay where your odds are like plus 550 or something like that, plus 600. You're not, it's not likely that it's going to hit.
What are some prop bets you guys like then? Do you have any players that you think are gonna, maybe no-name guys that are gonna explode, or really good players that aren't gonna perform as well this game?
So one thing I like to tell people, and this is, I think, really fun because a lot of people like to bet the coin toss. Don't bet the coin toss. Just don't do it, because you have to pay.
I think I'm
for
gonna bet the
both.
coin toss this year.
Oh my gosh. So a lot of places you have to pay to bet the coin toss, especially the place that I do my betting. You have to pay like minus 110 or minus 115 on both sides. There's no value there. So if you can get it under like minus 105, if you can get it at like minus 102 or minus 103, so you just have to pay that little vig to bet either side, then go for it. But I don't see any value in betting the
Well,
coin
guess what,
toss.
Bo? I was looking at some different props earlier today to get ready for this podcast, and DraftKings currently has heads and tails at plus 100.
Come on. Oh, that's amazing. Then I would go for it.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna
But then
throw
you're
some money
just-
at it, see what happens. Tails never fails. Just hammer it, see what happens.
Dave, I'll put you down for tails.
So the last 3 have been heads, if that tells you anything.
Dude, we're due. Tails is due.
Due, baby, it's due. It's like the roulette wheel.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Well, my favorite prop bet, and this is one you can get really good plus money on, is the opening kickoff to be a touchback. If you were to bet no on that, you can get like plus 300 odds, which I think is actually really good because since 1994, only 3 kickoffs have been opening game kickoffs have been a touchback. So
You're saying if they run the ball out on the kickoff,
Yep.
it's 3 times what you bet?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That seems like a really good deal.
Right. So the theory behind, I think, why it's juiced so high to the no that it's going to be or to the yes that it's going to be a touchback is because they moved the kickoff spot. So now you don't kick off from the 20, you kick off from the 25 now. So that's why you get plus odds on the no that it's going to be a touchback. So I think that's a fun one that you can do, and you know right away as soon as the game starts, you know whether or not you lost your bet.
Yeah, I like that too because I feel like if you're the kickoff returner, you're just amped to be at the Super Bowl. If it was me, there's no way I'm just sitting back. I would run that fucker out at any time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think unless it's in the back of the end zone, I think that they're going to catch it and run it out. Everyone wants that Devin Hester moment, right? Even though we know how that Super Bowl ended, like that kick return was like one of the most iconic in Super Bowl history. So I think a lot of guys want to do that. So like you said, I think the returner's juiced up. You're a little concerned that the kicker's juiced up, but I think I was looking at some article where I saw the same thing, Bo, that it's good. It's good money and smart money to bet on no for a touchback. Both of these kickers have like a 65-ish% touchback rate. And the last time the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl, Harrison Butker kicked off the opening kick and it was returned. So it was not a touchback.
Yep.
So
yeah,
he's 2 years older now. He's getting even worse of a leg. So maybe as long as the Chiefs kick off, we're looking pretty. I could not find this prop bet in DraftKings though.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's only available in certain spots.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe they realized that it was an absolute lock, so they had to take it off.
Could be. Here.
Try to
Oh,
see
so
if
okay.
I-
Sorry, that line has moved significantly since I checked it early last week. Opening kick result in a touchback, yes, minus 155. No, plus 125. So there has been a lot of money that's come in on the
Oh
no.
boy.
So it's moved significantly since that point.
That's a big swing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
I
something I
did
have.
that.
Here's something I have to say. You asked about like a player that might go off. So I have a good buddy from back home, Braxton. He's a diehard Eagles fan since we were little kids. You know, he had Eagles wallpaper in his bedroom. He had the fat heads. You guys ever see those fat heads? He had a Donovan McNabb fat head and a big Eagles logo fat head. So
That's really cool.
he texted me. He listens to the podcast, so shout out Braxton. Thanks for the support. He said, "Here's a crazy bet for you that I think has a good chance of hitting. Kenneth Gainwell, Super Bowl MVP, plus 10,000."
Oh my God.
He said he could see Kenneth Gainwell getting a couple touches and breaking one or two, having a couple, a handful of touchdowns or something where he would be a surprise MVP pick, but he could see it being a possibility. So I don't know if I'm going to lay any money on that, even though I trust Braxton. So what I think I'm going to do is kind of take that advice and take Kenneth Gainwell anytime touchdown at plus 320.
I'll put that down. I like that. Yeah, he got a lot of
Yeah,
touches
thanks.
against the Niners. I know all they did was run it, but
Yeah.
He's a tough back and he runs hard. He kind of reminds me of like Pacheco, where they just like run extremely hard. So he runs hard and he's also a good pass catcher out of the backfield. So maybe he'll like kind of leak out that Chiefs defensive line will get a good pressure on Hurts and he'll dump it off and the rest Kenneth Gainwell will take care of.
yeah, I like that one because it looked like it was almost the last. I didn't watch much of the Giants game, but it looks like it was a little bit of a split committee, not just all Miles Sanders running it.
Correct.
Yeah.
The only thing you worry about is Jalen Hurts doing you dirty.
He might, yeah. If it's up close, if the Eagles have the ball within like the 1 or 2 yard line, Kenneth Gainwell ain't touching that shit. That is going to be one of those Jalen Hurts quarterback sneaks where everybody gets behind him and pushes him into the end zone.
Okay, since you're splooging about the Eagles, I'll take one I saw was the Eagles. This is on DraftKings. Eagles over 3.5 touchdowns for plus 150. So
Ooh,
they'd have to get 4
that's a good one.
touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Bo, what do you got?
Since we
Any Eagles?
were talking about, I do like Dallas Goedert anytime touchdown scorer. I don't know what the line is on that, but I think he's involved so heavily in their passing game, especially down like inside the red zone. I think he's got a good chance to score a touchdown. So if there's an anytime touchdown scorer for the Eagles, I'd like Dallas Goedert on that one.
Plus 150 it currently sits.
So I think that's fair value.
Here's a bet that I'm done betting on is first touchdown scores. That's something that's very frustrating to gamble on. I think it's a total crapshoot of who has the ball and obviously what player gets it. So I like the anytime touchdowns. So you can keep your hope alive the entire game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like that too.
Here's a little kind of team prop. It could go any single direction, which I love the possibility of. Any player to have either 150 receiving yards or 150 rushing yards on either team, plus 350. So I kind of like that one. I might sprinkle some money on that. I could easily see, one of the running backs breaking a long run or two, and one of AJ Brown or Devontae Smith breaking a long catch or two. So I really like that one. I think that's kind of tasty.
So what is it? Plus 350 for any player to have 100 receiving or rushing yards?
Correct.
Not combined,
Oh,
right?
150.
150. Okay.
So
Yeah,
they need to have a good game, that's for sure, but
A
it's
really
not
good game,
impossible.
yeah. No, and I think you get good value out of that too at three times your money. I think that's a decent one.
Well, actually, speaking of that, I have Travis Kelce was one I liked over 125 receiving yards for 300 plus 310.
That's a lot of receiving yards for a tight
That is
end.
a lot of receiving yards. But I mean, if you look at the Chiefs, their wide receiver core is really banged up. we don't know if Schuster's going to play. We don't know if Tony's going to play or how effective either of those guys are going to be. So it might be the Travis Kelce show.
The bets I like with Kelsey, and I don't know any lines or what the numbers set at right now, but anything I like with Kelsey is volume. Anything over with the total receptions is what I really like with Kelsey because he could have 12 catches for 40 yards. I don't see him being like a 5 catches for 120-yard guy. I could see him being like a 15 catches for 120 yards, but he's a volume guy. And like you said, Bo, their wide receivers are banged up. Even if they're healthy as an ox, Pat Mahomes loves Travis Kelce. So he's a huge volume guy, kind of dropping in the zone, finding those holes and finding those gaps. So I love the volume out of Kelce.
So John, you touched on the Eagles touchdowns in the game. So I'm seeing here you can get total touchdowns in the game at 6.5. The over is plus 130. So if there's 7 touchdowns total in the game, plus 130 odds on that. What do you think of that? That goes with your over bet.
Yeah, that's a guy that would love the over in this game.
No kidding.
Yeah, I
think
hit
that's
that.
reasonable.
Yeah,
I think that's reasonable value.
Yes, if I were betting, I would bet on that. 6.5 plus 130. You said.
Yeah,
because that would include defensive touchdowns, right? If they intercepted it and ran it in for a touchdown or something.
Total.
Okay.
Total touchdowns, yeah, for both teams.
Yeah, I like that. You guys would not take that though, because you're on the under.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go on that one.
Okay. What do you got a interesting one for us, Bo?
Yeah, I do. Because the Chiefs seem to struggle so much in the red zone, I like Harrison Butker over 1.5 field goals in this game. So I like him to kick two or more field goals in the game.
What are those odds?
I don't know what that. I don't know. I was trying to look at it again, and I haven't been able to. To find it, but I can scroll through and see. There's so many prop bets nowadays.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like a million different tabs you have to go through and kind of dig through. So if it's plus money, it's very tasty for me. Might have to sprinkle some on that.
Okay. Here, Harrison Butker field goals made over 1.5 is minus 135. So you got to lay a lot of juice to that, but I think I don't want to call it a lock, but I think it's something that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I can see that easily. 2 field goals, it's like nothing.
Yeah, I think he had quite a few last game. So yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Well, and he's got good range too, and they're going to be playing, semi indoors in Arizona, so it's not like you're going to be running into bad weather. So, I mean, if they get, to the 40, they're essentially in range.
Yeah, I agree. 2 other like little player props that I was kind of looking at. I was under game leaders in the Super Bowl, player with the most catches. Like I talked about, Travis Kelce has crazy volume. He's at minus 125. I don't love that value there. What I do kind of like is a sneaky value is Jerick McKinnon at plus 1,600. He didn't get a ton of snaps last game, which is what makes me nervous about this bet and why I think he has such high odds here. But with him, being the running back and being a pass catching running back, and the Eagles' defensive line providing so much pressure to Pat Mahomes on a hobbled ankle, I could just see him kind of dumping off a lot to Jerick McKinnon, whether that's kind of planned or unplanned. So I think that could be kind of a sneaky, like most receptions, but that's a pretty bold to pick a running back to have the most catches in the game.
Yeah. I actually had Jerick McKinnon as one of my props too. You can get him on DraftKings over 44.5 passing and receiving yards for minus 115.
Yeah, he's going to throw a couple balls?
No, sorry, receiving and rushing. My bad.
I caught that too.
That makes more sense. Yeah, I like that. It just depends on his volume, but if he gets snaps, right. I like that a lot.
So since we're talking about Chiefs running backs, what do you think about this one? I'm seeing Isaiah Pacheco to score a touchdown. Yes, plus 150. To score a touchdown.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think,
think so
like I
too.
said, he runs harder than any running back I've seen in the NFL this year. He runs so hard that I could see him kind of catching a pass out of the backfield, sprinting 20 yards, trucking a dude over and running in the end zone. He's also very agile. Like he's not like a big bruising running back, but he can be. I think he's kind of versatile in that aspect where he can catch passes out of the backfield, he can run between the tackles, he can break tackles, he can also juke people out. So I think scoring a touchdown, I mean, I like that, especially at plus 150. And his
Yeah, I think
volume's
that's a good
only
one too.
increased the last couple weeks, which means the
Yeah.
Chiefs trust him.
Yeah, I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be back, but I don't think he sees the ball much. Personally, I don't think he'll get many snaps. Yeah, I'll put you down for the Isaiah Pacheco Bo. Anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I like that one.
The anytime touchdown ones are fun, especially when you get decent odds on them. Throw a couple bucks on it, the guy scores, it's just an electric feeling.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any quarterback props that you're looking at? Overs or unders? No.
So I think since you brought up the quarterbacks, I think it's a good time to talk about the Super Bowl MVP. I know you brought it up earlier, but I just looked at it here. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes are both level to be as favorites to win the Super Bowl MVP, both plus 110 to win the Super Bowl MVP. The next closest, Travis Kelce at plus 900. Do you guys think there's any value on either one of those?
Well, Cooper Kupp won last year, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which was the first non-QB in a while. It was a good stretch of QBs that won the MVP.
I would say Travis Kelce would be the only other player I could see, but I actually looked at that on DraftKings. I think I'll check for you real quick, but I'm pretty sure that they had Patrick Mahomes at like plus 130.
Oh, okay. I think that's fair because if the Chiefs win, Patrick Mahomes has a fantastic game. Although I don't see anybody else on the Chiefs winning Super Bowl MVP other than Mahomes.
Yeah, so in that aspect, I figure if you're gonna, my mentality is if I'm gonna bet on the Eagles, if I'm taking an MVP pick, I'm gonna take somebody on the Chiefs to kind of counteract, that Eagles money, like spread money. I don't, maybe that's dumb. Maybe I should be double dipping, but I'm kind of spreading out my odds there, I think.
Yeah, Mahomes is plus 125, Hurts is plus 120. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think that I guess maybe they're saying Hurts because the Eagles are more likely to win. That's why they have him as a more likely favorite for MVP. Okay.
If there's a guy on the Eagles, if it's not Hurts, who do you think would be the guy that wins Super Bowl MVP?
You mean besides Kenneth Gainwell?
I guess yeah. I guess
Yes,
you thought
besides
Kenneth Gainwell then.
Here's a guy that maybe not a lot of people would think initially, but Devontae Smith. Maybe squeezing out, 2 touchdowns, maybe even a third, just going bonkers and having a crazy game. I could see that happening. Like one of those wide receivers are so talented that I could definitely, and like I said earlier, the Chiefs secondary is composed of almost entirely rookies at this point. They're injured, they're banged up, they're inexperienced, but they have some great players. Don't get me wrong, but they are young and they're inexperienced, and this is a big moment for them. So I could see those receivers having a field day out there.
Yeah, I think the Eagles have some pretty young players too. It will be really interesting to see if those young players play any differently because it's a Super Bowl. I know that it's just another football game, but there's so much hype around it and so much media and so much bullshit the whole week before it. I imagine that's got to get to your head a little bit where you're almost not focused on the game. You're like thinking about everything else. And I just wonder if that's going to affect on both sides these younger players.
This sounds dumb because I know it's not even close to comparable, but I think it does help a little bit with those Eagles players, the key Eagles players that they have played in big college games in their career where this next step to the Super Bowl isn't such a huge leap as maybe somebody from like a smaller college or a team that has never, made it to a college football playoff. Like we're looking at a quarterback, Jalen Hurts out of Alabama that played in multiple national championships. We're looking at Devontae Smith, who won a Heisman at Alabama, played in, a couple national championships, caught the game-winning touchdown as a freshman, I think, at Alabama against Georgia in the Natty. So some of these guys have played in these big games, so I think that'll help.
Do you think Jalen Hurts gets benched in the Super Bowl?
Negative. I did see Kenneth Gainwell had the same MVP odds as Gardner Minshew, so that didn't make me feel too great.
Yeah, I did see Chad Henne up there too. that he was an option plus 10,000 for Chad Henne to win Super Bowl MVP.
Same odds as Kenneth Gainwell. So they're predicting a Pat Mahomes tweaked ankle and Chad Henne going in there and balling out, Nick Foles style.
Yeah, I
No.
actually like Chad Henne better than Gardner Minshew if I was going to bet on a backup.
Yeah, that's a fair choice.
Agreed.
Andrew. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I wouldn't do that, but
I wouldn't recommend it. No, a backup quarterback to win MVP is a pretty bold choice.
I wouldn't even let a nickel ride on Chad Henne's ass.
But meanwhile, my boy Braxton is recommending the third string running back for the Eagles. So hey, crazier shit has happened.
There you go. True, very true. I'm flipping through to see if there's anything else that's really interesting. You guys got any interest in betting the length of the national anthem? Where do you guys fall on that?
See, I couldn't find that in the sports book I was looking at either in DraftKings, but I saw an interesting stat yesterday that it's I think Chris Stapleton, who's historically a slow country singer. He Tennessee Whiskey is a very slow country song. It's gone over the last 2 years, I think, with Eric Church and I don't know who was last year. I apologize, listeners, that I don't know who that is off the top of my head, but gone over 2 years in a row. I think the singer likes to have kind of a big moment where they do the dramatic finish. I thought the line, at least in the article I was looking at, was like 2 minutes and 2 seconds or something. Are you looking at it right now, Bo?
I'm not. No, I know that was one that people like to do because it's a not football related bet.
Yeah. I told my girlfriend Jackie that she can bet one $5 bet anything she wants. So I was kind of talking to her about some of the fun ones like what Gatorade color, with the Gatorade bath and the coin toss and the national anthem, things like that.
Hey, quick on the Gatorade bath. The last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, it was orange. So if you want to get in on that bet, the orange might be the way to go.
I think that's like the heavy. Oh, actually, no, I stand corrected. Yellow green is the favorite at plus 165. Orange is plus 300 as the second favorite.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, yellow. I guess yellow Gatorade is pretty popular, but I could see either team drinking a little orange Gatorade. It's pretty popular. Like Nick Sirianni probably wants to get showered in orange Gatorade as well. So.
That's a fun one. I like that one.
Yeah, it is. It keeps you going even after the game ends.
There is an interesting one on here. Any field goal or extra point to hit an upright or crossbar.
Yeah, I saw that. That's kind of intriguing too. A lot of pressure in the Super Bowl. They might get shaky legs. Maybe Cody Parkey went off the uprights for me.
Or even like I did see there's a bet you can make if there's a missed field goal, any missed field goal.
I love that.
I think that's kind of a fun one too.
Yeah, a lot more nerves on the kickers.
You're sitting in your living room going like this.
Yeah.
Get over.
Yeah.
I think they project that there's going to be like $16 billion bet on the Super Bowl this year or something. So the real winner is definitely the casinos for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat and talk a little conspiracy quick. I don't like doing when you log into the sports books, I don't like betting on those like same game parlays and promos that they give you because I think everybody does that. And then whatever happens, if people are putting millions and millions of dollars on it, maybe you have the NFL getting involved in pulling these strings to make sure that these things don't happen. They're obviously in close ties with the sports books now. They do all these gambling advice and everything on like ESPN and Sports Center now. Like I don't listen to that shit because I think that I could see them being in collusion together. So gamble. My point is gamble with your heart, gamble with your brain, gamble with the trends, like Bo says.
Is your tinfoil hat off now?
Yeah, my tinfoil hat is back off.
Okay, good. Do you guys have any others? Otherwise, I can give a quick recap of all the picks you guys have.
I do have one that I like, and this is one that I hit last year. Is the shortest touchdown to be under 1.5 yards. So essentially what you're betting on is there to be a 1-yard touchdown scored. And the reason I like that is because if there is any type of penalty in the end zone and ball gets placed at the 1-yard line and they score a touchdown, boom, you got a winner.
What's the odds on that?
I don't know. I guess that's not one I have in front of me. I can imagine there's juice to the over the 1.5 yards because it's much more likely. Because if the under is going to hit, it has to be a 1 yard touchdown. But I guess I don't know what the odds are specifically on that one.
I like that too, and I think the Eagles notoriously love that QB sneak, and I could see some bullshit like that happening. Yeah, so that's a good, interesting one I've not heard of before.
And they will do that. They will do that QB sneak multiple times in a row. So like if they're 3 yards out and they do that QB sneak and they don't quite get it, and they get it, inside the one, but they don't quite get it in, they'll line up and do it again.
They love it. They love just ramming it down their throat.
Yeah.
Dave, any other special ones you got? Any other hot ones?
No, not really. I think I kind of talked about the ones I like. I usually have an issue with spreading myself a little too thin with the prop bets during the Super Bowl. I think I'm going to lay big money on the spread with the Eagles, sprinkle a little bit on the under, and sprinkle some on some of these prop bets. But try to keep myself contained, and maybe take some of the advice from Bo here and bet on some of those, and we'll see what happens.
Well, what's your strategy going in? Are you doing a lot on the spread, then a little bit on these other props, or what?
I'm heavy on the Eagles and the spread. Yeah, if I can get the Eagles under a field goal, I'm on that pretty heavy. I like the Eagles in this game significantly, especially because of their offensive and defensive line play. I think if there's any chance for Mahomes and the Chiefs, it's that Mahomes has just an ungodly game. But I think that the quality of the Eagles' defensive line, you could see this game turn into a similar game the way the Chiefs played against the Bucks in that Super Bowl a couple of years ago, where Mahomes is just constantly running for his life, and if he loses a receiver or two in this game, it could get ugly for the Chiefs.
I agree. I think that I could be horrifically wrong, when we listen to this on Monday morning, but I could see this game getting out of hand for the Eagle. I could see that the Chiefs bias with like how we feel about Pat Mahomes, how we feel about Andy Reid, how we feel about the Chiefs in general, just kind of getting into people's heads, making it seem like this game will be really close. But I could see it being kind of lopsided. Maybe I'll even move the line a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, I will say if they get one good hit on Mahomes and he tweaks that ankle or something, I think it could be just like that 49ers game. It could get really out of hand. And it would also help if the refs give a couple flags and help the Eagles out if they're struggling on a drive. That might help them too.
Well, shit, they're going to help the Chiefs more than the Eagles.
I think so. I think you're right.
Which makes me think it will be close. The penalties are going to be like 15 to the Chiefs and 5 to the Eagles.
Yeah, it might be like that.
I wish you could bet the over on total penalties for one team.
Oh, so you're saying you think the Eagles will get many more flags?
Yeah, sorry, against them, flags against them.
Okay, just to help the Chiefs stay in it.
Kind of stay in it, keep it close. Yeah.
The NFL wants a close game. They want a close Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, they want beat-ups to hit the overtime lever.
Okay. All right. Let me give a quick recap if you've listened this far. So David and Bo are both riding with the Eagles -1.5. They're taking that all day. They're hesitant on the under, but they would hit it if they have to. Bo has opening kickoff not to be a touchback. You can currently get for +125. He's got a Dallas Goedert anytime touchdown and Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown. He's got Harrison Butker over 1.5 field goals. He did have 3 field goals against the Bengals. And the shortest touchdown under 1.5 yards. He's thinking there may be a QB sneak for a touchdown. David is for 1 yard. David is taking tails because tails never fails. He loves Kenneth Gainwell having an anytime touchdown at +320 because, as David says, he runs with as much intensity as anyone he's ever seen. He's taking any player over 150 receiving or rushing yards. And you didn't give me any other prop bets. Is that all you want?
Yeah, there's no, that's fine. I also had one that I kind of liked, player with the most yards from scrimmage in the game, Miles Sanders at +550. I kind of like that. I mean, that was kind of intriguing. Obviously, if that happens, then my Kenneth Gainwell bet is screwed. But I think Miles Sanders is their number one guy. They run the ball
Most
a lot.
rushing yards from
It
scrimmage.
just says most yards from scrimmage. So
Does that mean passing?
it just means like total, like catch, receiving, rushing.
Rushing and receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not passing though. Passing
Not
passing yards
passing,
do
no.
not count
Yeah.
from scrimmage. Yeah.
Rushing and receiving. Don't put that on my betting slip. I'm not gonna put money on that. I don't
You
think.
just like that. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then I'm going the opposite of David and Bo. I'm taking the Chiefs plus 1.5, and I will take the over. Eagles over 3.5 total touchdowns. Travis Kelce more than 125 yards, and Jerick McKinnon over 45 rushing and receiving yards. So I think that's a pretty good spread. It looks good now, but we will tell at Sunday about 10:30. We will know if these were true or not.
You guys have a Super Bowl party or something that you're going to?
Jonathan?
Yeah, our volleyball team is getting together up here in Green Bay.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, it should be nice. David?
Yeah, I'm going to Des Moines this weekend to visit some college buddies, so we're gonna be watching it there. A few of us.
Love it. Bo?
Nice. Nothing. Nope. I'm gonna watch at home with my wife and my son.
Well, that'll be fun.
Nothing wrong with that, Bo.
Nope.
Are you guys you doing anything? What is your favorite Super Bowl snack or appetizer or whatever?
Chicken wings, man. Got to get them barbecue chicken wings, and you got to get bone-in chicken wings. Get your bone-in wings. Get your fingers dirty. Get in there, man.
So are you ordering those ahead of time? Like, because that's the thing. I don't know if I've ever
we'll
actually. Oh, you make them. Okay. I don't think I've ever like ordered takeout during the Super Bowl. I feel like it's a mad rush, right?
Yeah. We'll fire up the air fryer and fry up some chicken wings.
If you're a Buffalo guy, go to Costco. They have some great Buffalo bone-in chicken wings there. You toss those in the air fryer. Comes with a little buffalo sauce. You kind of thaw it and toss those around. They're phenomenal boneless or bone-in buffalo wings from Costco.
Okay.
David, your favorite appetizer?
Yeah, I like the wings. We talked about this a little bit on my podcast, Peaked in College, yesterday when we recorded. It'll be out either tonight or tomorrow. But I said, because I didn't want to do the wings and Craig picked the wings, I said like barbecue meatballs. My dad makes these kind of like barbecue-ish, teriyaki-ish meatballs, and they're fire. Like I really love those.
I'm more of a dip guy, so I just like dipping something in something else. It could be anything. Sweet,
you go
savory.
Chips or pretzels? What's the go-to thing?
I would say if I had a bullet to my or a gun to my head, I would go the tortilla chips with buffalo chicken dip. Carla makes excellent buffalo chicken dip, so I would say
that's a crowd favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I would say.
That sounds yummy. What's the beverage of choice?
I bought a case of Bud Lights. I'm gonna go dilly this Super Bowl season.
Dilly. Okay, fair.
What about you boys?
Probably go Blue Moon Light Sky.
John's gonna drink LaCroix the Super Bowl.
LaCroix.
What about you, Bo? What's your go-to beer? Miller Lights, I'm guessing.
It'll either be Miller Lite or a bottle of grape wine. One of the two.
Okay.
Is that a sweet wine or a dry wine?
No, it's a sweet wine. My wife is pregnant right now, so she's not doing any drinking. So I'm trying to get rid of all the wine that we have in our house.
Oh, it's very sweet of you to consume it all to get rid of all the wine. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, otherwise it just sits there. So someone's got to drink it.
Yeah, I like it.
Congrats! I didn't know that. It's the second one on the way, huh?
Yeah. Thank you. Due in June, so we'll have for a very brief period of time we'll have 2 under 2. So
awesome! Congratulations,
looking forward to that. Yeah, thank you.
Winning on and off the field this year, Bo.
Whoa. Yeah. 2022 was a great year. Was Alaric when was he born?
October.
Okay.
So that brief stretch between June and October, we'll have 2 under 2, but that won't last too long.
Well, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Our 2 cats are both under 2, and it's tough. But
no one cares.
You'll see when you get there.
There you go.
Well, thanks for coming on, boys. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Safe travels to anyone traveling to be with friends or family for the Super Bowl. And we hope it's a safe and enjoyable time for everyone.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
I have Monday off of work, which is awesome. I've never had the day after the Super Bowl off. I think that they should make the Super Bowl either a federal holiday, so you get the Monday off, or they should move it to Saturday. They got to get that figured out this next presidency.
Agreed. I'm with you there. I think
I
we
agree.
all should have Monday off. But yeah, I'm with you.
It'd make it way more fun for just the country, period.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Bo. Thanks, John. It's been a pleasure as always. Good luck and positive vibes to everyone's bets this Super Bowl season. No matter who's the winner, I hope that we are all the winner against the books. So God bless and good vibes.
And remember to gamble safely.
1-800-GAMBLER if you have a problem.
Yes.